Alright, here up for auction we have our all-original Survivor 1983 Ford Ranger. It's a regular cab, short bed, two-wheel drive. It's just got a killer look with all original paint. It's absolutely had zero accidents, zero paint work done on it. It has a clean wash and title. It's always been here in the Northwest. Was originally in the kind of the Bellevue, Mercer Island area, kind of on the east side of Seattle, and you can still see it's got the original dealer plate frames with it. Still has all original books that come with it. Still have the original sales brochure down in the office, but you still have all the original books, which is really cool to see after this many years, this stuff. And this will be in the pictures. It's a 2-owner truck. The original reason why I bought it was because of this killer interior. I mean, the interior is absolutely amazing on this thing. It shows 67,000 miles on the odometer, but it's a 5-digit odometer, and I have no way of knowing really. I'm assuming 167,000 miles, just kind of by the wear on it. But I bought it because of the interior and the exterior of the body. As you'll read in the description, and I'll also do a driving mechanical video, it does have some, runs and drives, but it does have, the motor's tired. It's got a 2.34 cylinder, which wasn't the greatest motor. It's got automatic, but my original plans was to lower down a little bit, probably go with the stock wheels, and put a V8 swap in it with an IC6. But we're going to be moving shops next year, so we're kind of just going through some of the stuff that we know we won't get to the next year, and maybe see if we can find a home for it and lighten the load a little bit when we do move. But this truck, they only did this for the first couple years. It's got like basically kind of like the 69 Mach 1 bottom skirts, which we were kind of thinking about doing some 18-inch US mag wheels that look like the Ford 500 wheels that came on the Mach 1s and stuff. But it just has a killer patina look to it. The only rust on this thing is this tiny little spot on the tailgate, which is, no big deal really to me. We were going to put a roll pan on the back and kind of have the roll pan painted and blended in. It had a canopy on it most of its life, so it has this nice bed rails. Inside the bed is really nice and rust free. The front bulkhead is nice and straight, but it did rub a little surface rust right there, but it's all solid metal. There's no metal up here. It just kind of has your patina worn off paint right here and then along in the front. This thing just has awesome originality. The tailgate is nice and straight, opens and closes really easy. Of course, you have your canopy wear and stuff like that, but just closes really nice. And then the doors just shut nice and amazing. Just that nice solid sound. No door hinge issues. This is nice and tight. A lot of these worn out trucks, it'll be flapping. It does have your normal, wear items. The driver's side headlight looks newer than the passenger side headlight. Those are just a couple dollar parts. But oddly enough, the passenger side one works. So we'll get a different headlight put in there and make sure both work for you. But you can see the original dealer plate frame. But you got to expect stuff for, a 35-year-old truck, 36-year-old truck. You're going to have little tiny stone chips along the front here. There's a couple little, kind of like, maybe they shut the hood on something, couple little nipples right there. The chrome's a nice shape, but there is some fading and peppering, some fading in the black cutout areas, but there's no damage to the grill. You will have like your little stone chips, stuff like that, but this is what I was going for when I bought this truck. I love original looking patina, and this would just be a killer little hot rod truck. All the corner bumpers are in good condition. The lower valance never got caught on anything. It's nice and straight. All the light lenses, no cracks or chips. We left the front window in it because, we obviously didn't go where we wanted with the project, but it, does have delaminating on the side, but it's amazing. It's got the original window from 1983 in this thing. You do have some chips and cracks, but just cool to see that left in there. And then this window was broken at one point, and it's got a little plexiglass in here. But they pop up at wrecking yards, pick a pull type yards, or you can get them right on eBay. I think the last one I saw on eBay was $12. But the outer door sweeps, of course, are chipped, but you can get the 4-piece kit, which is 2 outers, 2 inners, for $35 to the door. You can see inside here is this really nice shape. Got a little dent down here. I think you can get behind the bed and just pop this piece out. It's got the all 4 14-inch wheels with tires with good rubber. No cracks or anything. Still got the original caps and beauty rings. But the inside, like I was saying, is just amazing. Nobody's ever messed with this thing. And all the door panels are still nice and tight. There's no slits or cuts in the vinyl. I mean, it's just an amazing shape. You look at the wood around the gauges. I love any vehicle that's got circle gauges, the C10 pickups, the GM muscle cars, over the long sweeping. But you look at the condition of the wood around here. I mean, the stereo's never been messed with. Shifter's in nice shape. I mean, it's 100% untouched in here. You look at the body plugs, nice and soft. But you look at the condition of the carpet and the wear on the pad and the pedals. I mean, it's just, I'm surprised it does have, you know, the motor is getting tired. You know, headliner's sagging a little bit. Somebody popped some things in there. And you can see the cracks on the windshield. So, take you around to the passenger side again. Take a look at it. I mean, there's just absolute no wear on this seat on this side. I mean, it just has this killer, actually, I'm surprised, you know, it looks more like the 70s style seat. Yeah, this opens nicely and closes. Again, no wear on the door. The door panels are just perfect. I mean, the pockets are still, the weird thing is you see a ton of these Rangers, you don't see them as much as you do nowadays, but you see them just wore out and just beat up, not running. You do have a little chip in the speaker grill, I noticed, but a lot of times these things are just hanging out like this. To see this stuff, you know, once I saw this thing, you know, just kind of fell in love with it, looking at all that stuff. Of course, this is cracked here, and just taking in the originality and the untouched condition of it, and you could tell how well this thing was cared for. You know, we take you underneath the hood. You know, it's got some leaks and stuff like that. You know, it's not a truck we're going to say that you could start daily driving right away. I definitely gonna need some mechanical work on the motor. But again, that was not a concern of mine. It was this was plans on this was going to come out. A nice little 302 was going to go in there. But you look at the motor, I mean, you can still see all the timing marks, this decal. This was still in place, and kind of in the time we've had it kind of flaked off a little bit. But you see this stuff just untouched. But the bottom side will be a little oily. Got emissions decal for the 2.3. It's carbureted, so it's probably got a little bit of old gas in it. It was a regular registered and driven vehicle until just about 2 years ago. So again, this is going to be going at no reserve, and I'll take you along the back here. There's a little bit of chip there. The tail lights are a little bit faded. Just want to make sure I get all these little spots. You know, you're gonna have a couple little scuffs and stuff and scratches on the passenger side. You got a little ding right here, a little ding right here. You know, have a couple little scratches, and there's a touch-up spot here and here and here. But same with on the other side. And the paint is a little bit worn away, kind of like the roof is right there on that body line. But it's really cool. We got this original painted pinstripe that's got the fade to it. It just shows originality. I mean, you can go in and around this thing, inside the gas door, inside the door jams. I mean, there is zero tape liner overspraying. But again, it just shuts killer. Really nice gaps. But so yeah, we'll fire this up. It's, you know, when it's cold, you got to pump it a bunch of times. When it's warm, it stays running, but it does. I think it probably might have a little bit of a vacuum leak or something, because it'll idle a little funky, but you know, that's without touching the gas. You can see it just has the idiot gauges, but it does make a little ticking. It doesn't get any louder or any quieter. So you can see it kind of runs a little bit rough. You pull the dipstick, it's got a little blow by going on. You get on the gas real hard, you might see a little bit of smoke coming out, but at idle. But you can hear it kind of idling, kind of funky. But I've probably put, 20 some miles on this thing, just driving around the way it is in the last 7 months that we've had it. But just to keep it alive and keep the brakes going, to keep the fluids in it. So it's always been started good. It's always had a battery in it and good fluids and stuff. But the main purpose again is just it's got a just amazing body and interior on this truck. So it's gonna be going at no reserve. So good luck. All right, here we are in a run-in driving video of our little '83 Ford Ranger, all original Survivor. Got all the lights going. You can see the blinkers are nice and bright. Obviously, as I talked about in the other video, the driver's side headlight is burnt out, so we'll replace that. The low 30s here. It is getting cold. You can see the tail lights, even the light split lights working. 4-way flashers. You can hear it's got the little tick and a little bit of a rough idle. Motor shakes around a little bit, but it's a little stinky, a little smelly. But again, as we mentioned, that wasn't the purpose on why we were buying it. We were gonna make a nice little hot rod truck out of the windows. All roll up and down really good. Doors lock easily from the inside and outside. Got your dome light works. Alright, so we're gonna get, this thing does kind of bog down on itself a little bit. You know, around town driving I kind of manually shift it, but it's get the stereo, little original AM stereo works. Windshield wipers work. It's pretty much their, there's their maximum. And then the blower motor doesn't, it trickles out heat, but it doesn't seem to pick up any speed. Gas gauge works. But the more you drive it, the better it seems like it gets, but it does kind of, you know, I think it's got some old fuel in it, and the carburetor's probably has its fair share of little issues that can go on with those, but you punch it, it kind of falls on its face a little bit. If you gradually get up to speed, it's kind of okay, but like cruising around this, it's, you know, it doesn't give you any stressful issues when you come to a stop. You know, you gotta pump it quite a few times when it's cold to start it, and then it idles really high, and then once it kicks down, you can pretty much go out for a runabout with it. So we'll go out some back roads, and hopefully, because traffic's super bad right now, but hopefully we can get up to some decent speeds. I'll just go ahead and put it in drive. But it does, you know, there's going to be, if you want to keep this drivetrain and keep it as a bone stock Ranger, there's going to be some, you know, some time and money and some work you're going to need to put in to figure out some of these little issues. But it does kind of hesitate to shift sometimes, so I don't know if that's probably, I would assume it's probably throttle related with the carburetor. You know, it doesn't really know what position it is in. But, you know, we're doing 25 now. You can see it doesn't have a lot of rattles. This road's got a lot of potholes. It soaks up the bumps nice. Turn on the blinker so you can see the lights up in here properly. But, you know, it's kind of like, I'm giving it like quarter to half throttle. You know, there's full throttle. Upshift. But you can see it wasn't a bunch of smoke or nothing, but it, you know, if it sits there and idles for a while, it will give off a little bit of white smoke. Try to, there's 35. But you can see it kind of will hesitate to go into the gear. I'll come to a complete stop, put it in drive. So we're first. There, it kind of waits. It shifted in a second, about 35 miles an hour, and that was to the floor. And it will go into third, but it takes a little bit of time. Hopefully we can. But drives nice and straight, has really tight steering. You see there's no play in the steering at all. As soon as you turn the steering wheel, it turns that way. It doesn't have any rattles or anything like that. It's overall the body and interior and suspension braking is very tight. The brakes are really nice. They don't pull or shake or make any noises. But you know, it's going to be, I'd love to see what happens to this. It'd be just a killer V8 swap hot rod truck. But also, if you just love Rangers, you love stuff stock the way it is, you know, you can go through. If you got just a totally great running truck that's rusted and rotted out, this would be a great platform for you. We'll try to get up to a little bit of speed here. You know, and then this to the floor, went into third gear about 50 miles an hour. So you get a little bit of wind noise because of this little wing window. But again, it's going at no reserve, and it's just going to be a killer fun little truck for somebody.